Greetings again. This is Dr. Bill Wyatt with the American Orthodontic Society. And I have a case here that I only did, as far as I can remember, one case like this during my whole career as orthodontics. And this one is restoring the upper centrals with upper laterals. And what happens here, we don't normally go in and extract central teeth like this, but this young man, if I remember correctly, we finished him up and he went home, and the next week or something he slipped off the roof of the house. He was working on the gutter and it wasn't far down, but he fell and he knocked his two front teeth out. I mean, they were on the ground. And so they brought them in and they kept them in moist. You got to keep them moist, and some people bring them in milk or something, and you rinse them off and clean them up as much as you can, and you reinsert them back into the socket and stabilize them some way or another, where you put a wire across there and bond that wire to the other teeth and keep them from moving around, and the teeth will grow back in the mouth, and they'll be solid and grow and do good. But in about, in about 5 years, maybe sometimes closer than that, they look like a mouse or something that had gone in and gnawed the sides of the roots out, and finally they'll just end up with no root and the teeth will just come out. And so we talked about the young man, tell him about this earlier, quite a bit earlier, and he decided that he would let us move the laterals over where the centrals were, and we'd have to slide the upper teeth forward some. Now, if you if you had somebody who was real protrusive, you could probably take out two bicuspids down on the bottom and then balance it with the two centrals that you have up above and make it work out good. We made it look good to start with, and then we finished him, I think, in 1983, something like that. And then in 1991, he came back and his gap opened up in here. Now, young men frequently grow when they get about 19 or sometimes 17 or 18 and even into 21 or 22, where the lower jaw will come forward just a little bit, and sometimes it's more than a little bit, and the father of the child, a lot of times that's happened to them, so that may have been the thing that happened. But let's go in right soon and look what we did. I don't have all the pictures on this young man, but I'm going to show the two centrals that we worked on. Now, we took the centrals that came out, normal size. Let me see, we got to get back over here and load this up, I see. We took the centrals and they maybe came out like this, They were bigger than they were then, and maybe they were more something like that. And we just ground each central down, and every few weeks we'd cut it down, maybe a week or two or something, and keep pulling them together until we got these two teeth together right here, about like that, and that was right in the dead center. And when we got them that point, we just took the two teeth out. You see, we cut the roots off and left the brackets and everything on them, and then we just took one tooth and bracketed it, and then we took that one tooth and ground it down so that he would run around while you're closing this space up with a big gap in his teeth. And it didn't look perfect, but it was better than having a big gap up there all the time. And so we ground the one tooth down till it got so narrow we couldn't work with it. And then we had the laterals up there close enough to where somebody could come in and crown the lateral teeth. And that's what we ended up doing in this particular case. And the teeth that we had, this was the incisal edge, and we just ground them off like this and hooked them onto the arch wire, and they would embed in the gum tissue to some extent and look like an actual tooth there. So that kind of helped the appearance of this thing as we went along. So let me go ahead and we'll show. So we got the teeth in place, and then we put some springs in here and pushed these teeth over and brought the roots of the laterals up in like this and got them. And then after we got them in there and got the, and these cuspids were kind of shaped like laterals, but we didn't make them very, make them more narrow hardly any. And we pushed these teeth together. So we sent them into some restorative dentists there and restored these lateral crowns and made them look a little bit like centrals. They're not perfect by a long shot. So this is not an ideal thing to do, but we had them looking pretty good. So here we are in 1983. We had these teeth in place and had moved the upper teeth up, but we didn't get them far enough up. And I think as he got this next three, let's see, it took from 83 to 91, and during that time, his lower jaw moved forward some on him, and that had to have a space in here. And so we'll show that to you. Now you could come back in, and we had him almost together up there. It looked pretty good, but the cuspids don't look too good. His laterals are as big as the centrals almost, but that might be better than having two implants or a bridge running across there. The appearance could be better than it is here. So let's see, this is 1983, and the lower teeth are lined up. We've got the cuspids, you see, and the first, that's the second bicuspids. So we did take out first bicuspids on the bottom to kind of match up this up, but there's not as much space. We didn't gain as much as we really needed by taking the bicuspids up. And if I'm not mistaken, we'll show some pictures where the wisdom teeth, we brought this forward a good bit, and the wisdom teeth there's a picture there showing them later we'll show. All right, here is what it looked like in 1984. And we had him wearing this retainer. And you see these teeth are down over the gum here, and this is up the laterals. We didn't make them small enough in there, but they don't look all that bad. And that may be better way to do it. Anyway, that's what he elected to do. We could have had sent him in, had implants, and that would be a mess too. So anyway, we took the first bis out to kind of balance this, and his profile's still good. Is it full enough? And that's 1984. It was looking like that. And then we got him, if you look on both sides, the cuspids now, we didn't have, get the lateral appearance very much, but this is the first bi, and this up above, and the second bi back here. This is the first bi, the second bi, and the first bite is gone in here, so we have the molar is up here in place like it normally would be. All right, you can go back and look at the left side of the mouth. It's pretty well interdigitated back in here, but not as good as we would like. And this was I think that was 1984. Yeah. Now his centrals, they put crowns in there, but they wore through the crown right there. And you can see the core that they have. They may have made a gold core on it to put over this, but it's worn down through that at this point. Now, here I don't see any wisdom teeth in the mouth, but no, that one I don't see either. But the lower anterior teeth, this is 84, are lined up real good right in here, and the overjet, let me see if I can get that in there. Here is all right, we've got enough overjet and overbite so that when he moves his jaw out to bite something out here, he'll relieve these, and these teeth don't touch when you're biting with your front teeth, and all the pressure now is back on the jaw joint and the front teeth. So you can't bite too hard over there unless it's a desperate situation. But you can bite things off. But it's not good to be biting real hard. That puts a lot of load on your joints over here. So let's go on now and see what happened. All right, this is 84, and everything's looking pretty good. And 84, and this is 1991. So from 84 to 91, that's 6 or 7. That's 7 years, I believe it was in. And you look at this, and this young man's lower jaw grew out some, like a lot of young men's jaws do, and they can do that up to, say, 21 or 22. I've had them grow like that. And so the profile still looks good. He's got a little prominence in the chin. Everything looks fine, and he was happy with it, but when you look at him, he's got this big gap in the front teeth. Now the teeth have come forward, and you see he still has a little overbite and overjet, so you use those. Now you can't come in and put big, extra big crowns. They wouldn't have to be too big, and you might could recrown those and close that space up some way or another if it's possible. This is not an ideal deal. So here we are looking at it, 4/4/91, and the teeth lack about 1.5 millimeters or 2 millimeters closing that space. You might could go in and crown all 4 teeth up there and make it match up a little better. But anyway, he was happy with it, and so as far as I know, we left him with this diastema up here, which I would like to get closed. If we did, we'd have to come in with some class 3 elastics up here and pull these teeth forward, or we'd have to strip the teeth down here on the bottom and slide these teeth together, and then get some space to, and then close that up here. So this is not, it didn't work out just perfect, but it did pretty good. And so you may have somebody that knocks their teeth out and they put them back in, and you clean them up, and you can do this at home, clean them up and stick them back in there. And if you got braces, you just tie them back like they were, and they'll grow back. You just have to keep them steady there until they get back. You can't be wiggling them around that, and they will reattach. But in several years, everyone that I've seen over a long period of time, the body has rejected them, and they'll absorb the roots of the tooth, and it'll come out. So you can save them in a few years if you want to, but you'll have to put something permanent back in there, and that's just the way it is. So thank you for watching, and I hope you get some idea about this, but that's better than going without it or putting a removable gadget in there with 2 front teeth in it. You could do that, or you could bridge from lateral to lateral, or but that's not ideal either. So I'm going to say goodbye. I hope you get something out of this, and let's see, this is fitting pretty good. And this side over here, all right. Well, oh, here is the wisdom tooth, you see. So we did get his wisdom teeth to come in by, we've taken a first bicuspid over this side and the centrals over on here and moving the teeth up. The gap that we needed, we didn't get enough space from the reducing the bicuspids, trading them for centrals up here, or we'd had room to move these back in and stay there. So that's kind of the way the ball bounced, and that's the only case I can remember where you get the teeth knocked out, somebody put them back and they grew back. And I've had a lot of single teeth that they've done that to, and every one of them, the root will resorb like that. But anyway, they see worn through to the core that they had on the tooth. Well, here's the upper wisdom teeth, you can see. So he did get his wisdom teeth in, so we traded first buys and centrals for wisdom teeth in the case. And if that's pretty good. It's not perfect, but there's a lot of other things in life that aren't perfect too. So thanks for watching, and maybe this won't happen to you, but if it does, this is one out in doing something like this. And this is 1991, and everything looks pretty good after 7 years. And there's the 3 pieces of teeth that we used in finishing the case. And I'll say goodbye, and I hope you'll join our group and subscribe to it. And I hope that somebody somewhere gets something out of this. If you do, drop us a note. I appreciate the notes. And I've spoken in many places, and I don't hear from the people that I had in lectures very often, but if you've been in a lecture, give me a note and let me know that you have. And so I'll say good night.